very much. Uh, and thank you so much for inviting me. It feels very special. It's the solstice. And Mudita, what a wonderful, wonderful quality of heart. What a wonderful topic to explore at this time of year, because culturally, we're at a time where we are actually greeting people with very mudita-like greetings, like happy holidays and wishing you a wonderful holiday season, wonderful time with your family, perhaps Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, a genuine well-wishing and a lot of celebration. So this quality of heart, mudita, this this attitude and orientation in life is one of the four divine abidings that the Buddha teaches and explains. And basically, these are the four emotions that are really, really, really worth our understanding and our cultivating and developing in our own lives. And all four of them are actually they're intricately related. They're really descriptions of and practices of like a wholehearted, loving response to life. So metta is the base and the foundation, and just this quality of across the board benevolence. Not it, we can think of our close friends, we can think of our family and that warmth in the heart. And the Buddha is teaching us that that can be for all beings, human and non-human, including plants, animals, unseen beings, that we can have this kind of warmth and care and open-hearted feeling and thoughts of. So metta is this base, and then karuna, the second Brahma Vihara, the second divine abiding, often translated as compassion. It's truly a well-wishing, wishing for someone's pain and suffering to abide, to abate. Sorry, to abate. And this is this open-hearted, loving response to difficulty, to suffering, to pain. And then its sister, its counter, its balancing agent is mudita, which is love's response, the open-hearted response to joy and success and well-being in other people's lives and in our own. It's love's response to goodness. And it's full of celebration and rejoicing and appreciation. Very, very, very beautiful states of mind. And then equanimity, the fourth of these divine abidings, is love imbued with wisdom. It's really the culmination. It's where these two wings of the Dhamma are operating in tandem. This compassion and care, and then wisdom. And so that's a quick overview of these four Brahma Viharas, four divine abidings. But we're going to explore and unpack today mudita. So this Pali word mudita, the root is mud, or almost mud. M-U-D is the root of this word, this Pali word. And the direct translation, a very good English translation for this root, is to be soft. Be soft and happy. And this is very helpful, this idea of I mean, all of the wholesome states of mind have this softness, quality of softness, this quality of fluidity in them. So that's the root. And you may have heard the Pali word anumodana. And this is what monastics chant after they've received alms food. They chant an anumodana, or actually after they've received any gift from lay people, they chant anumodana. And anumodana is again related to this root mud that mudita is related to. And again, it's a rejoicing. When monastics are chanting anumodana, a great translation for anumodana is a rejoicing in your generosity. Again, this appreciating the goodness. This is the quality of mudita. And another Pali word that you will not have heard, and I don't even need to tell you the Pali word, but it's related to this root, and that's in the Anapanasati Sutta, in the middle-length discourses, where the Buddha gives detailed instructions on breath meditation. He talks at one point, after the mind has gotten quite withdrawn from the senses and quite internal and settled, then the instruction is to uplift the mind, to gladden the mind. And that word, that Pali word, and that instruction is also related to this root, the root of mudita. And I would like to this morning, first, before I start speaking about the practice of mudita, I'd really like to talk about sort of get more buy-in. I feel like mudita is like the poor cousin, it doesn't get as much airtime as some of the other of the four divine abidings. And, I mean, you ask people, often people will have metta as their meditation object, or they're really, cultivating a lot of karuna for all of these challenges and difficulties in their own life and the life of people that they're close to and care about. But rarely you ask someone, oh, what's your meditation object? I've actually never met anyone yet. Oh, mudita. Mudita is my meditation object. But I actually think that it will behoove us to spend some time with mudita as our meditation object. So before I talk about the practice of mudita, I would like to build a case for it, just talk about the benefits, the beauty of this heart quality, and get us all with more buy-in, and not to see mudita as sort of this sideline practice. I actually think it's core to the entire path, because it's very related to joy and to piti sukha, to happiness, pamoja. Pamoja actually, I don't know if you know this Pali word, but this is in a sequence of a description of the mind becoming more and more and more wholesome, and the meditation going deeper and deeper and deeper. Pamoja, and it often gets translated as gladness, sometimes as joy. Again, this is related to that same root, mud. So, and just one caveat before I make this strong case for mudita and how awesome it is, and how brilliant the Buddha was in giving us this practice, and in knowing that we needed it. I want to do one quick caveat, and that is that mudita is both a formal meditation practice, where it is a quality of heart and mind that we are deliberately, consciously cultivating. It's a meditation practice. It is also just a very, very, very wholesome state of mind that can be tapped into and developed off the cushion, just in our regular life. And even for a non-practitioner, it's a very, very, very helpful practice, very, very helpful understanding and tool in a person's life. So building a case for how great mudita is and getting all of us actually more, I guess, giving it more airtime in our own hearts and minds, in our own lives. The first thing is, I already referred to it, and mudita balances karuna. At times we can, uh, at times, many of us have come to Buddhist practice because of, you know, whatever, suffering, failure, crisis, like I need some other strategies. I need help. Many of us have come, you know, tumbled into the Buddha's teachings from this doorway. And then, we hear the Four Noble Truths, and life is difficult, life's suffering, it's got dissatisfaction in it, and the cause is deep in our hearts, and it can be a little heavy. And the Buddha knows this, that actually what the mind needs is joy. The mind needs uplift. The mind needs wholesome. And so mudita is this balance. It's this balancing heart quality to all of the suffering in the world. And the Buddha, the greatest psychologist ever, and the greatest at being pragmatic and practical. And mudita actually fills in the picture and gives us actually a much more realistic picture of life. We have a tendency to slide towards the negative, and mudita, it's like it balances the scale, and it's much more realistic about us and about life, about everything, even our health. Even if we've heard the the worst news about our health, there's still this other side. There always is this other side, and this is something that we all have to continually work at day by day. This staying in the middle, and bringing things more into balance and more into line with reality. And mudita is something that does this. With this idea of it being this balancing agent, probably many of you have heard, Rick Hansen is the neuroscientist that's really, I guess he's a neuropsychologist actually, but he's really brought forward this evolutionary situation that we have where the mind has a negativity bias. Have people put up your hands if you've heard this term, negativity bias? Yeah, like almost everyone. Yeah. So it's just evolutionary. It's that the nervous system, and including all the senses, are geared to alerting us to danger. And so our thousands of years ago, when we're on the savannah desert or in the jungle, our lives depended on us seeing the problems, us seeing the dangers, us being slightly vigilant. And so negative things, difficult things, problematic things register at basically a higher volume in our system. And we still have that. And so it's useful information. Like, oh, if I'm going to have positive experiences and open the heart more and more to joy, I'm actually going against my wiring, and it's going to take just a little bit more effort. It's like riding a bike. Have you ever ridden a bike and it's like, and then you realize, oh, there's this slight hill. I can't really see it, but definitely I'm going uphill. It's like that. So And the Buddha knows this. He knows this about the human mind because he knows everything about the human mind. And so he's given us this practice because we need it. So this balancing potential and promise of 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 this practice and this mind state of mudita. Secondly, maybe even more important, is mudita counters directly. It's an antidote. It directly counters, one of our biggest problems, one of the poison root of ill will. Mudita counters this. Uh, um, and again, if we don't understand about the negativity bias, we can be susceptible to just subtle ill will creeping in. And because of the negativity bias, we live in a culture that the culture that we're in here in Canada at this time, so consumer, so capitalist, so materialist, so individualistic. Craving is just off the charts. Well, craving is not different than ill will. It's just the flip side. So as craving has just, gone rampant, so has ill will. And so we have a lot of it's like the hill I mentioned is actually a bit steeper than just the suffering, that we're needing to balance. We also need to balance this very powerful force of ill will. And interestingly, I only have found it once in the Pali Canon, in the suttas, but it's in the Maharahula Ovada Sutta, in the middle length discourses. And this is the greater advice to Rahula, where the Buddha is speaking with his son. And at this point, his son is about 18 and has been a monk, novice monk for over 10 years, as Rahula, his son, ordained when he was 7, as a novice monk. And the Buddha's giving him really specific meditation instruction. It's a very beautiful sutta, and all about the 4 elements, and then all about the 4 divine abidings, and then I think on to breath meditation. And when he gets to mudita and describing this meditation, the Buddha says to his son, when you cultivate, when you meditate on appreciation, any discontent will be given up. So, and discontent is this low grade ill will that is just, it's just there almost all the time when we get sensitive to it. And when we deliberately, consciously begin to understand how important it is for the mind to be seeing the good, the heart to be being fed the good, this counters this. It's almost like the hum of a fridge, this discontent that many of us don't even realize is there. And actually is what keeps the mind from going deeper in meditation. Incredible teaching of the Buddha to his son. And then lastly, that mudita will help build resilience within our mind body system. It will build resilience. Mudita is it's based on this on this deep understanding of everything that I've just said, that the importance of seeing the whole picture. And and when we do that, and when we're very, very cognizant of all the good in ourselves, in others, in life, we're much more resilient, much, much less susceptible to overwhelm and to collapse. We kind of have this uh, sense of possibility. It's almost linked to, and it's going to help our confidence in our faith. There's a researcher at Stanford, Carol Dweck, Dweck is her last name, and she's coined this phrase, growth mindset, and it has a ton of research about when we have a growth mindset, which all of us do as Buddhists, because it's basically the idea that I'm not fixed. I'm not the victim. I'm not the victim of my family of origin. I'm not the victim of, you know, my own intelligence. I'm not the victim of my life situation. I have um, the possibility of cultivating and training the mind. That's this growth mindset. And when we have that, which we all do, but it's great to really be aware of it, because this opens the door to so much possibility and to so much positivity. When we have this growth mindset, um, which is actually the whole premise of the Buddha's teachings, then we have this resilience. We can learn from criticism. We can understand that hardship is part of learning, and not succeeding is part of learning. Carol Dweck talks about not yet. It's not like I failed. It's just I haven't succeeded. Not yet. It's just such a different orientation. And uh, this growth mindset, mudita comes along. It's in the package that we derive inspiration from other people's success rather than threat, because we're all on this path together. We're all training our minds. And so when someone succeeds, it's evidence that success is possible instead of any kind of, reflection on us. And it's an antidote to competition and threat and self-protection. It's an antidote to self. Mudita is such a like antidote to just like little me and little mine and my little world and my little family and my little pride. No, it's an antidote to all of that and integral in the Buddha's teachings, I have to say. So um, I hope all of us are slightly more convinced and excited. Um, and so the practice of mudita, again, it's both a meditation practice, formal meditation practice, and a heart quality orientation in our lives. And the first thing I want to talk about is similar to metta, same as metta, that it's important for us to practice mudita towards ourselves. And it's in the instructions. In the Pali, it's iti u dhammado tiriyang sabadi sabatataya. And this is like for metta, for karuna, for mudita, for upekkha, that uh, above and below, around and everywhere, to all as to myself. That these are radiation practices, and it starts here and radiates out, just like the sun with collapsing in and the fusion that happens, and then and then the photons that come out. It's the same motion as the sun. And think of the sun with its warmth and its light collapsing in and then sending out. First aspect of the practice of mudita is a lot of mudita towards ourselves, and really, really understanding that this is exactly what the Buddha has instructed. And it's not just in the mudita instructions, it's also a whole nother set of recollections and meditation instructions, which are these 6 recollections that we should recollect: the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, and then the next 3 are really this recollection of our own goodness, that we recollect our virtue, our generosity, and then the devas. But when we recollect the devas, so interesting. It's actually I'm going to read it so that yeah, I'll read it because it's important to understand that, again, it's recollecting that just like I have faith, just like I have virtuous behavior, just like I have learning, just like I have generosity, just like I have wisdom, that these devas had that as well. And that's why when they passed away from here, they were born in a heavenly realm. I don't need to read it, but it's very powerful that it's important for us, so important for us to really be aware of and attuned to and appreciative, that's mudita, appreciative of our own goodness. And it's a beautiful practice. And it can open a door to more metta for ourselves. And I mean, I don't know about you, I come from quite a stern, harsh, even Christian background, and knew the Bible inside and out, and Matthew 6:3, the Buddha, Jesus gives the instructions, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing when you're giving to the needy. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but there's, even if we haven't directly been influenced by strict, even fundamentalist Christian teachings, it's certainly the culture that we're in. But and as women, I think also had a bit of a double dose of it. Like, don't be proud, don't brag, don't and Christianity, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. This is the Buddha saying the opposite. It's essential. It's essential for us to be very in touch with our own goodness. And when people are benefiting from your goodness, and they express that, to receive it, to let it go in. And this is not pride. This is not unwholesome. This is wholesome. And it's the most wholesome for us to receive the good, us to recognize the good, us to reflect the good in ourselves and then in other people. This is the practice of mudita. And with this negativity bias, in our biology, we actually have to be deliberate. When something is positive, when something is lovely, when something is beautiful, and you notice it, stay with that experience and feel it in your body. Rick Hanson talks about let good facts become good experiences. And then you want to linger there for like 10, 15, 20 seconds in order for that positive experience to have the good effect that it has the potential to have. Where Kansen talks about, often we can get to the end of our day or get to the end of a conversation or get to the end of an experience. And if there was like, 55 minutes that were really smooth and easy and positive and well, and then 1 minute that was difficult, invariably our mind will latch on to that small percentage of what was difficult. Mudita for ourselves. It's a very, very beautiful practice and very uh, important. Joseph Goldstein talks about one time when he was with U Pandita in Burma, in Myanmar, early days, and he was struggling and he was caught. And day after day after day. And I don't know if you know much about Burmese practice, but Mahasi Sayadaw school, it was like really intense, like 11, 12 hours a day of sitting, walking, sitting, walking, sitting, walking. And he was, this was going on for weeks, days and days and days and days and days and days and days. And Upandita would give him this instruction, that instruction, this instruction, that instruction. And he was really, really kind of in a hole. And at one point, Upandita said to Joseph that it would be very important for him to reflect on his goodness. And this recollections that I'm describing, and there are many, many times in the sutta that Buddha gives them to us. And it is mudita. It's mudita for yourself. And Joseph shares this in a Dhamma talk that I heard to point to the depth of the the ill will and the negativity that many of us live with and live in. He said when Upandita gave him this instruction, his mind immediately went to, oh yeah, of course I do. I need to reflect on my goodness and the lack of it, and that's why I'm stuck like I'm stuck. And so he says that to Pandita and Impandita. No, 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 no. I mean your goodness, like because you're stuck. You need uplift. You need like to get bumped out of this hole. And if you reflect on your goodness, your love of the Dhamma, your love of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, your morality, your generosity, this will, and it did. But it was a very, very poignant, powerful experience for Joseph to realize where his mind went when he was initially given these instructions. Yeah. And so this second part of like, above, below, around, everywhere, to all as to myself, this second part of our mudita instructions of truly, truly rejoicing in the well-being, the success, the accomplishments, the goodness of others. Very, very beautiful teaching, and so counterculture, so lacking in our culture. I have two grandchildren, and already, they're young, 8 and almost 6, and such pressure to be cool, such pressure to stop having that youthful, innocent exuberance about life. Already in the school setting, there's pressure to be cool, slightly cynical, and kind of cool to do these witty put downs. It's intense. My meditation teacher, Beth Upton, also practiced in Burma, in Myanmar. And she said when she got there, she was young. She was like 24 and had just graduated from Cambridge, a degree in economics, from London, England. And she said when she got there, uh, it was radical for her. The amount this just being in this ocean of mudita, and she realized how starved her heart was for that. This just seeing the good in others, celebrating the good in others, supporting the good in others. And this is one way that the Sangha can be a refuge for us, that there's no pressure here to be witty, sarcastic, cynical, like all of those things are just, that's not sophisticated. That's foolish. And to be open-hearted and giving people the benefit of the doubt and believing in them and seeing their beauty. This is essential, and we're all starving for it, and we all need it. We all need uh, to be celebrated, warts and all. No, the work in progress. That there's a beautiful family camp that happens at Spirit Rock each summer, and there's teens that go, and these teens, honestly, it's like they get there like they've come through a desert. They are so thirsty for mudita, and then to land in with another whole group of teens that are gonna like leave this idea of what is cool at the door, and they do a practice that the last night of the camp. I mean, the bonds between these teens is just so beautiful to see. And then they do a practice where they put a teen in the middle of the circle, and all the other teens are around the circle, and they just love bomb. They just love bomb the teen. It goes on for several minutes each person, like maybe a half hour. And we were all starving for it. And it's incredibly healing and really needed. I mentioned my grandchildren. I was at visiting them just a week ago, and we were playing this silly, it was cute, actually, sweet dart game. And so that it was a dart board that was like the soft part of Velcro, and then the darts had the sticky part, the clingy part of Velcro on them. And so we were, each person you had three darts, and you did your turn. And at one point I did a throw, and it was I don't think I was like way in the corner of this dartboard, and my granddaughter, almost 6, kind of giggled and, clapped. And I was like, no, no, no. We do not celebrate people's, failings and lack of success. No, we only celebrate, we don't celebrate bad shots. There's nothing to celebrate. Ours, our own, and anyone else's. And we celebrate good shots. We celebrate people's success. And then we started doing that. And you could feel it's like the air in the room got lighter. You could feel how much better it felt. And for my grandchildren too, it just got much happier and less competitive, and more celebration. There's a like a bit of a hero of mine is this American woman, Abby Wambach. And I don't know if any of you would know that name. She was a soccer player, gold medalist, twice, American female soccer player. And she now has a podcast, We Can Do Hard Things. And she wrote a book called Wolfpack. And it's much of the book is about this quality of celebrating the success of others and mudita. And it's wonderful coming from this, high performing soccer player, just talking about the team and the qualities of heart that need to be on the team. And she has this expression, point and run. And she practiced it very much. And so anytime, and she was like the top goal scorer several years, anytime she would score a goal, the first thing she would do is point to the woman, her teammate that had passed her that ball. It was the very first thing she'd ever do. Anytime she scores, first thing she does is point to that other teammate, because it's not her goal alone. It's the whole team. It's such mudita, wolf pack. This idea of we're a group. There's not a me and a you. It's just not. And there's not. There isn't a self. There's just causes and conditions, cause and condition arising and passing away. And the run part of point and run. And she says you're not always going to be the goal scorer. And when you're not, you better be running toward the one who is, to celebrate them. It's a beautiful quality of mudita. And I'll just quickly end with yeah, I'm a student of Beth Upton's, and she studied in Myanmar with Pa Ok, and her entire time learning meditation there was all group interviews. Everything was in a group, all group interviews. So you were talking about where you were at, what was going on in your own meditation in a group. And that's how Beth does a lot of her teaching. And it's very powerful. I learn way more from not just me and my meditation, but from everybody, what's working for them, what's problematic for them, and to counter our feeling of like, oh my gosh, this person's in third jhana, da da da. But to counter any feelings of intimidation or competitiveness or jealousy, always, always, always we end with a beautiful practice of mudita and spend time in meditation, celebrating each and every person, wherever they're at in their spiritual practice, wherever they're at in their meditation practice. Celebrating the success of others and being inspired, deeply inspired by the success of others. If they can, I can too, because we're no different. Our minds, we all have unwholesome hindrances in our minds that we're needing to dismantle and care for and cultivate the wholesome, of which mudita is paramount. Yeah. So I'll end there. And thank you for the question. I think honestly, it's so much of what I already shared is for me, uh um I need to understand, like, and so the more I understand the importance of seeing the good and the kind of what I'm up against with my own nervous system, I've found all of that very, very freeing and motivating. That, oh, it's not just that I'm like this curmudgeony, aversive type. No, I mean, I'm a nervous system, and so I need to consciously counter that tendency towards the negativity. So things like gratitude practices, which are very linked to appreciation practices. Mindfulness is also very helpful to. So uh, um, I often can feel when the heart is getting, and there's some irritation and negativity, or feeling of like, oh, this isn't going to work, like that energy. um so mindfulness helps me see that energy, and then the teachings about the need to really consciously, deliberately cultivate appreciation of the good, and this growth mindset. Those in combination, those two things um, really help. I live here in Canmore, and there's two lay women that live with me currently, and there's a third woman coming in a couple weeks to explore taking on the robes. And so uh, this also is very useful living in community. And we have a community meeting every week, and we begin with a practice that's come from Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is the go-to for building community. And so this practice is called tending the garden. And we have a talking stick, and we begin the community meeting with an appreciation. So if I'm starting, I'll say an appreciation I have for Sanghamitta. She's the benefactor of the monastery. She's donated her house. And then the other lay steward is Bodhipala. But it's not like, oh, I really appreciate uh, your humor. It's more specific. Like I really appreciate that. Like this week when I was discouraged, you took some time to listen and you gave me something very specific from the week. And what that practice does is it primes the pump that, oh, I'm looking for what's my appreciation gonna, because it has to be really specific, like from the last few days. So then you're looking for that, and then again, this Rikanson teaching of letting it linger, then you're soaking it in, and you're savoring it. That's also very useful. And then the next go around is we share a regret we have from the week. And there's not always, but often there is. And then the third go around is we work through a difficulty. Like if there was a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, hurt feelings, uh, that's the third go around. And it keeps it like um, clean. And the fact that we have that third go around with the hurts, sometimes they seem really little, but it's great. This there's this container, there's this format for them to be addressed and cleared and got, swept away. Yeah. I think when we live together, having some kind of ritual, even before I was a practitioner, I was a single parent and we would have family night, and we didn't, it wasn't as constructive as what I just described, but in fact, we have a children's program here. It's just twice a year, but it's like a half day because we have all these young families. It's so exciting. And so we have like a young group, and I'm with them, and then a little bit older group. And the woman who's coming was a grade 5 teacher, so she does them. Um, and yeah, the last uh, children's program we did in the fall was on perseverance. And Mudita is part of that. Like when you have a group that's celebrating you, you have a lot more perseverance. And so we did all kinds of activities that were a little bit difficult, silly, but difficult, like almost putting a cracker on your forehead and then you had to, without your hands, get it to your mouth. And of course, it fell on the floor many, many times because failure is part of success. But we were celebrating each other, like, oh, you're almost there, you're almost there. Yeah, and then one of the moms told me about a week later, she and her husband were having this, difficult conversation, and her son, who was 6, said, "Can we have a family meeting?" And he started the meeting with, I think we should say one thing that we really feel good about to start the meeting. He was 6. He initiated a family meeting and turning the family to the good. The mom said it was so powerful. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's very, very important that we um, pick up no, I'm not going to go there. It's very important that we pick up all of the Buddhist teachings, and wisdom is supreme. And all of these practices, even the practice of mudita, this is in service of the mind becoming more wholesome, more pure, that then we will have experiences of ease and peace, and this will you know pay to deeper meditation, that we see things more as they really are. It's all about wisdom. That's what we're doing here. So absolutely, uh we need to be very discerning about when and how open the heart is. And this is where it's wonderful to understand that this is a training. And so, um, yeah, definitely we want to um, use our discernment, and it's not going to serve us. It's actually not going to serve the other person for us to be inappropriately vulnerable. And I think it's important that we understand uh, when people are being abusive, or um, when they are being unfair, or when they are being cruel, any of these things, this is not good for them. I mean, of course, it's not good for us. It's terrible for us, but it's also not good for them. Not good karma for them. They are in very unwholesome mind states. So it's not um like selfish for us to take very good care of ourselves. It's selfless. It's wise.
So we have about 10 minutes left, and we had thought that you might lead us in a guided practice. Would that fit for you still
Yeah,
to?
that'd be super
Okay,
great. And
great.
I will let's do a mudita practice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. And then will someone ring the bell, or I
Yes.
can go ding? Yeah, okay. All
Okay.
right. Okay, beautiful. Ah, so if you need to stand up and do a little bit of a stretch, please do. Yeah, as much as possible. So we have this beautiful opportunity to be together this morning, closing our eyes and having our attention get more quiet and more aware of our internal state. And we could start with the body. And if you need to make some adjustments, you can rock your head back and forth. Roll your shoulders, maybe. Relax our face, our brow, our jaw, our tongue. Hmm. If there's any part of your body that is holding particular tension, just, if possible, soften around that. It's welcome. Nothing needs to be any different. my current experience completely welcome. And now I invite you to bring to mind, bring up into consciousness something about yourself that you genuinely like. Might be that, might be your honesty, your sincerity, your perseverance, your courage, your ability to be a good friend, your ability to forgive. It could be even your love of the Dhamma, some noble, wholesome quality. Doesn't mean it's perfected, but you genuinely have that quality. Enough that it's noticeable, enough that it's been something you've been able to lean into, lean on. Had it, you felt the benefit of it in your life. Ah, Mudita. Oh, appreciating this quality. Itiyu Dhammado Tiriyang Sabati Sabatataya. Above and below, around and everywhere. As to all, as to myself. Celebrating this beautiful quality that I feel that I so appreciate. The way I recognize and really appreciate and believe in my closest friend. And so want the best for them. As to all, as to myself. Oh, what a good feeling. Just relax and open and appreciate. Thank you, Buddha. Knowing what we need.
Thank you so much for coming to our Sangha this morning. Pleasure and an honor